Chords come from scales. In this lesson, we're looking at the harmonization of the C major scale and the C natural minor scale. Today we're going to talk about harmonizing two different scales. The first scale is a C major scale, and the other scale is going to be the C natural minor scale. In other words, C major scale, and in parallel, because we're starting from the same root, the natural minor scale. Okay, harmonization. What does harmonization mean? Chords come from scales, and so harmonization means that we take the scale, the bones of the scale, and we make that into chords, and we do that in a method that we call tertian harmony. That means if we look at the C major scale, which we have right here, I just did this sheet, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G goes on until you run out of notes on your fretboard. And so the first chord, when we're doing sevenths, in other words, 4-note chords, the first chord would be C, 1, 2, 3, take a note, skip a note, right? So C, E, and then G and B, C, E, G, B. I can play C, E, G, B like this, C, E, G, B, and that would be a C major 7 chord. And that C major 7 chord is derived from the major scale. And we're going to go through the entire major scale, giving us a chord for each of the notes of the scale. C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, and so on. And we're going to voice each of these chords in this voicing here. Not in the piano type voicing I just suggested, 1, 3, 5, 7 in that order, but instead the order will be 1, 5, 7, and 3. 1, 5, 7, 3. And that's going to be my first chord, my 1 chord, the C major 7 chord. All right, so let's just do that first of all let's harmonize the C major scale. And remember, we're just using the notes of the C major scale and using the voicing of 1, 5, 7, 3 on each chord. So the first chord, as I said, was C major 7. And I can move up now to the D, and here's my 1, my 5, my 7, and my 3. All right, and I'm still only using the notes of the C major scale, and moving up, I'm playing now an E minor 7, which is the 3 chord in the key of C. Up to the 4 chord of F major 7. Just putting that C major underneath. And I think I'll move to the next string set, giving me G. Here's my 5, here's my 7, here's my 3. Still the same. Same scale is underneath that. Now let's take the first 5 that we just had. C major 7, D minor 7, let's move to one more. 6 chord is minor. And then the 7 chord is B minor 7 flat 5. And finally, C major 7 at the octave. I love doing this, it's fun. As you can begin to hear the scale shape up, right? actually what you're doing in this case is you're playing 4 scales at a time, and they're progressing in order. So if I, in this case, our root note is going to be right, and the fifth. And the third, or the seventh, sorry. And the third. Right. So you're playing 4 scales at once. So you're not looking at it as chord pictures, but you're trying to imagine that each of the scale tones. Now there are some other routes you could take. Your F major 7, I think E minor 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, F major 7, G7. Right? We could also play G7 up here. B minor 7, flat 5. You get the idea. Now, just to reiterate, these chords are coming from scales, and so you should be aware of your scales. Underneath, you get the idea, right? Make sure that you are putting these chords on top of the scale, right? Try to not only hear the scale, but visualize the scale that's underneath the chords. And naturally, the same thing now is going to apply to every key. We could do the same thing in the key of D, or E flat, or F, or whatever the case is, right? But this is a really good place to start. Hey, if you're learning something, if you're getting something out of this video, make sure to like and subscribe, ask a question, leave a comment, or buy me a coffee. Thanks. C natural minor scale. The C natural minor scale is relative to the E flat major scale. Same notes. That might help, help you. Right, C minor, C natural minor. There's E flat. There's my natural minor, natural minor. So there's your natural minor scale. You can do that, work that up and down the fretboard on your own, keeping in mind that it's the same as the E flat major scale, except we start from a different tonal center, and that tonal center today is going to be C. And here's our first chord with the same 1, 5, 7, 3 voicing. Our 1 chord in C natural minor is C minor 7, going up to the 4 note chord. Then to the D minor 7 flat 5, or D half diminished. 1 chord, 2 chord, key. 3 chord, 4 chord, F minor, 5 chord is G minor 7, 6 chord, B flat 7, and resolving to the C minor. Yeah, good. I'm just checking to see that my fretboard is reading. So let's do that again. 2 chord, 3 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord, 6 chord, 7 chord, and resolution to our 1 chord. And I'm sure that you can hear that it's coming out of a scale, right? And keep in mind always the scale underneath. Okay, now this is just the fun part. I find this fun. I find, harmonizing scales and listening to what's happening really fun. And I hope you will too. So what we're doing is harmonizing scales. I need a coffee break. And now we're going to put them together. C major. We're just going to do this a little bit at a time. I'll show you what I mean. Here's a chord progression. C major, D minor, E minor. And I'm going to go back and use the E flat from the C minor and the D minor or how about E flat from the C minor and resolving to major. Isn't that pretty? Oh, yes, that is. C minor, and then major, minor, right? And all of a sudden we have this great palette when we mix do this mixed modal technique or composite modal technique. Major scale, of course, can be called the Ionian mode, and so what we're using is the chords that are in each of these scales, the harmonizations of these two scales. But now we've got new chords because we've got some different notes in each of these scales. We still have a 1 chord in C major of C major, a 4 chord of F major, a 5 chord of G7. It's always good to remind yourself of each of the 1, 4, and 5s. In C minor, we have C minor, F minor, G minor, right? And now we have as I said, a very increased palette of possibilities. So one area of practice here, I could go on, but that's not exactly where I want to go with this lesson. With this lesson, it's about harmonizing a scale, being aware of where the notes are of the scale. Listen for the notes that are in the scale tones that are in the chords. And that goes for the natural minor scale or the Aeolian mode and the major scale or the Ionian mode. And then once you've noodled around a little bit with this idea of harmonizing scales, which should be done with all of your scales, then start to put together the sounds a little bit, right? 2-5-1, 2-5-5. Well, that's going to be minor, isn't it? Minor. Right, you get the idea, and start to hear these textures, hear these sounds, hear these colors. So I think this is a good lesson, and it's a lesson that you should probably incorporate into your regular practice routine if you have one. If you don't have a regular practice routine, it's likely you're not going to make it to the point of harmonizing scales, which would be a shame. Try a practice routine. I would suggest, a minimum of an hour a day or so, and you can make that a very enjoyable time. Right? It shouldn't be a chore. So work this kind of thing, this kind of concept, musical concept into the guitar fretboard, which is a polyphonic instrument. It's designed to play chords, and chords come from scales. So let's start with getting those scales underneath your fingers, and then start harmonizing them, and then start working that through different keys, and then combine these chords for the parallel harmonies that are so can be so delicious and interesting. Okay, that's about it for today. Hope you got something out of that. Let me know in the comments and questions and stuff like that. If you did, if you want me to go in different directions or whatever the case is. So thanks for your time, and keep playing, keep practicing, and enjoy what you do.